Cowboys Hour.
Supported by Albertsons.
And brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your hosts, Haley Sutton and Brad Shad.
And welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Cowboys Hour. Welcome to CityWorks. I told you last week Haley would be back tonight, and here she is.
As promised. I can talk today, too. That's the biggest thing.
Even better. And this, of course, is the wild card edition. I'm not going to call it the playoff edition because that would sound like it's going to be the only one, and we all know that it's clearly not the intention. So this is the wild card edition of the Cowboys Hour. We will have another one next week, but on Tuesday night because the game with Tampa Bay is on Monday night. And we are just delighted to have one of the absolute bedrocks of the Cowboys defense and, in fact, the whole football team, Leighton, Vander, Esch, here tonight. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it
very much.
And with Leighton comes from Rambo, one of our steadfast fans, the largest cardboard Leighton Vander Esch head that could ever possibly. We will at some point have to get a picture of you with your gigantic head that's not your head, okay? Because that's just too good. Thank you, all of you who have come out to CityWorks this evening. Delighted to have you here. Delighted to have everyone listening wherever you are on the Dallas Cowboys radio network and watching whenever you are watching, streamed on DallasCowboys.com. And so now the Cowboys are in playoff mode. We, following a game that we don't like, we always acknowledge its existence and move on. And so by way of everybody's waving goodbye to yesterday's game. Is that harder, Leighton, to watch that or to play in it?
I don't know if you could compare the two, honestly. Obviously, playing in the game when things aren't going right or you can't seem to get anything going right, it's tough. But watching it from the sideline, I mean, you wish you could be there doing something to try and help it. So it's hard to compare the two, but, I mean, both of them are difficult, very difficult.
I viewed yesterday as an outlier. It just wasn't who your team was all year long. Do you view it that way?
Absolutely. I just think it was out of character. Really just from the start of the game, no momentum. Couldn't build off of anything really, and as much as we tried to get things going, it just wasn't there. It was tough. So, I mean, you have games like that every now and then that, I mean, you never want to have a game like that, but you can also take a game or a situation like that, and there's a lot that you can learn from it. So I think it's going to light a lot of fires under a lot of guys' tail ends to make sure that don't happen again.
We were just discussing before we went on the air. The airplane landed about 12:30 this morning. So I asked Leighton, do you get to sleep faster when you have played, or like was his case yesterday when you have not played? And your answer was, when do you get to sleep easier if you don't play or if you play?
For me, it don't matter. My adrenaline is pumping like crazy. So I like last night, we got back at 12:30. I couldn't fall asleep until like 3:30. So whether I'm playing or not playing, it don't matter. It's stuck in my mind, especially after what happened last night.
Is that because you're thinking about the game or just like the general, like coming off of a football game and can't get to bed?
Both. I mean, when you're playing, obviously you have soreness that you're dealing with and trying to sleep with that, and then your adrenaline, your mind racing 100 miles an hour and trying to sleep. That don't work very well. But, I mean, minus the not being sore part from playing, it's still tough for me to fall asleep when my mind's racing.
How quickly, and by this I mean, was it maybe even before yesterday that people started flipping into playoff mode? Obviously, you wanted to win. You want to win every game, but where you were going to be slotted was already decided.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really what you've been working for since March, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is do or die situations now. So, I mean, this is we got to have all of our chips in one basket. So it's everything we got, all or nothing now at this point, and we know from the taste of that was in our mouth last year with what happened in playoffs. Nobody wants to experience that again, and I mean, we have everything in place this year to go and get it done, and I know the guys are all thinking the exact same thing. The amount of confidence we have in our locker room is tremendous, and I think that's exactly what matters. And looking at like our road and probably what it's going to be like throughout the playoffs, it's tough, but I mean, we're really focused on Tampa Bay, and we've had 2 cracks at it in the last 2 years and fallen short, but I mean, third time's a charm, and I know we're going to be guns blazing going into this game, and everybody's super excited.
It's supposed to be tough, you know. There's like usually not a lot of bad teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So when you get in there, it's supposed to get tougher. Everybody wants to know how you're feeling. Obviously, you as a precaution, you've sat out the last few weeks. How you feeling?
I feel good. I mean, just been staying in shape, getting ready for this playoff run, making sure the rest of I mean, it's been nice, but the rest of my body's been able to heal up and got fresh legs, and everybody's been kind of teasing me and making fun of me for not being out there practicing every single day or going through it, but because they know I'm going to have fresh legs when I get back. But, I mean, that's all part of it, but I've just been working, staying in the weight room, getting my strength back, and I feel great now, and I know I'm going to be very ready to go throughout this week of prep going into Tampa, so I'm looking forward to it, and I know a lot of guys are. I'm just looking forward to getting back out there with everybody and being able to communicate and lead on the field.
What just flashed through my mind when you were talking about everybody's going to be, everybody's been on you because you're going to have fresh. What just flashed through my mind was Sean Lee, because I've been in touch with him, talking to him in recent weeks about some other stuff, and we always wind up talking about you at some point. And I know how proud of your career he is, the fact that you overlapped a little bit, and he would be all over you like a cheap suit this week, wouldn't he?
Absolutely he would. I mean, the bond that Sean and I had when we played together here, and still, I mean, we're in contact regularly. Sometimes we play phone tag with each other because I know he's busy and just enjoying retirement and life now, which he should. But I love that guy so much, and he's taught me so much about the game of football, and I still learn things from him every time, every chance that we get to talk. And I mean, I know he'd be on me this whole week leading up into this game, but it all comes with love, and he treats me like one of his brothers. So, and I do the same with him.
When now that you're kind of approaching that veteran side of your career, because we were talking about that before we sat down, when it comes to injuries and, just recognizing how your body feels, how it takes to heal, have you noticed that as you get further in your career, you're kind of more in touch with that, where like maybe with something like this, you would have wanted to play last week and suited up, whereas now you're kind of able to say, let me give it one more week?
Absolutely. I mean, I think just the development of any player's career, you learn what works for you, what doesn't work for you as far as rehab or recovery aspects, and I think that's the biggest thing at a young age. It's like you don't necessarily think that you need that, but it is so important. And if you could just try certain things and figure out like, okay, I like this works for me good, because some things work for others better than others. And so now at this point in my career, I feel like I got a pretty good tune on the things I need every single week to get ready to play, regardless of whether I'm healthy playing or got a couple bumps and bruises I'm trying to get right before the game. All that stuff matters, and you figure that stuff out as you go, and I feel like by year 3, 4, and 5, I mean, you have a pretty good idea of what you need and what really, really works for your body.
I chuckle when I hear you talking about how it's different from when you were a young player, because last year everyone sees the website and sees the sideline mic'd up stuff, and so everybody heard your early conversations with Micah Parsons, giving him some advice. Don't chase the plays, and you were the wise old head trying to slow him down and get him to let the game come to him. And it must feel like 10 minutes ago when guys like Lee were telling you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, I mean, Micah is an absolute freak. I know a lot of people took that the wrong way when I said it, but it had nothing to do with that. It was more so like, dude, like we all have a job. Like 11 guys have a job when they're on the field to do their job to the best of their ability. And if someone gets out of their gap or if someone doesn't do their job every single play, that's when big plays happen, explosive plays happen. So it was more so on that fact to get them to realize, like, hey, like, dude, you can make a lot of plays, but, like, there's a lot of times, like, you need to do your job. And so, I mean, he's been a cornerstone of our defense ever since he's been here, and know that, hey, if we need a play, like, Mike is going to be one of the dudes to make that play or to go get it just based off of his raw freak talent and ability to go play the game of football. He has a nose for the ball, so I'm not going to hold him back from going and get it at all.
The great thing to me, though, is, and I say all the time, the thing I like the best about this show is showing people the human beings you guys are. So someone had to tell you that 10 minutes ago, which is 5 years, and now you are telling him. And to me, it shows the evolution, a part of the evolution of Leighton Vander Esch. So you made the Pro Bowl as a rookie, and now, my opinion, please reflect, your leadership, the increased responsibility that they have given you, the fact that they pretty much leave you on the field in this defense. I think you're playing the best football of your career, and you look more comfortable in the role. Is any of that right?
Yeah, I think I think you hit it right on the head. I don't necessarily like talking about myself in aspects of my performance, really. I like talking more so about knowing my ability and being confident in my ability and what I can go do and contribute to the team. For my grade and everything else, I mean, that's for the coaches to decide how I'm playing. All I can do is just go out there and do my job, like I said, to the best of my ability and put it all on the line for my teammates and the coaches and everybody here because, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to play this game and to be here with the fans, I mean, in Dallas and all the support that they show. And, I mean, there's nothing like playing for America's team. There really isn't. There's not even anything close to compare around the league. And you see it at these other stadiums. You see it, I mean, in the draft process going into to being a rookie, taking visits at these other teams. I mean, it's once you live this life here in Dallas and play at a facility like this, have the fans like this, there's nothing to compare to it. So, like I said, I mean, I just try to do my job, have fun doing it because I know it don't last very long. But I appreciate the compliments very much as far as what's been going on this season, and know that, I mean, it's not over yet. So we're taking it one game at a time. I know I am, and I got to go put on good stuff on film this week against Tampa. So I'm looking forward to it, but I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're welcome. You earned every syllable, and I think we understand who you are, and you don't like to talk about yourself. That's our job.
I was going to say, I don't think you're going to get a massive
when
head cut out anywhere else in the NFL.
You don't have to worry about getting a big head because they've got your big head right out there.
Go.
We'll show this to you on DallasCowboys.com. Leighton Vander Esch is our guest this evening on the Cowboys Hour at CityWorks, and we'll be right back.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Back to the Cowboys Hour, sponsored by Miller Lite, also sponsored by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. I got distracted there. I was trying to finish up my tweet of Leighton's.
Yeah, you'll want to follow. If you don't follow Haley on Twitter, you should be doing that anyway. But you'll see Leighton and the giant Leighton Vander Esch
Leighton and Leighton
on Twitter.
Leighton, I did want to ask you, though, because you were talking a little bit in our first block there just about, the relationship that you have with Sean and some of the other players on this year's roster. But we had Damone Clark on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I've spoken to him in the locker room as well. And the number one thing he always says when you talk to him is about how much of a help you have been, for him in his first year here. Just talk a little bit about the relationship that you've had, the mentorship that you've been able to provide for him as he's kind of navigating a similar situation that you were.
Yeah, I mean, like as we were talking earlier, how fast it seems like it's gone from my rookie year to now, year 5. I mean, the regular season's wrapped up and we're going to the playoffs. How fast this has gone from then till now. And the things that Sean helped me with. Now being in this role, I guess, being a vet, it's like the only just having respect for the game and seeing like the potential that some of these young guys have when they come in here, and the love they have for the game, like exactly what you do now and the way you felt as a rookie, how you can relate to that and help those guys and them be actually in your room, and Damone being one of them. I mean, the kid he's all brains. He's super smart, very intelligent when it comes to the game of football. And he wants everything to be super fast-paced right now and add this to his box, add this to his box. I'm like, dude, like you just got to add a little bit to your check box, like a little bit to your box at a time. Like don't try and add too much. Just take a little bit here, take a little bit there, like, and just constantly continue to evolve and improve. And really, a lot of it's going to come with experience and trying to get him to understand that. And I think he's done an extremely good job of taking all that in.
I would say he's not all brains because the first time I met him, I walked up to him. For those of you who don't know, practice squad and injured players sometimes locker in an adjoining locker room, not the main one. So that's where Damone was until he was activated. So I had never really met him. And when I walked up to him, I thought, well, this man's a giant. This is a very large human.
I think about that all the time, the day that the Cowboys opened his 21-day window. And so, of course, everybody wanted to see him at practice. And I will never forget, he was on the sleds. And the way he was hitting those sleds, I know you guys hit those hard, but the way Damone was doing, I was like,
Maybe it's the
that's
30.
Not a rookie.
Maybe it's the 33. I don't know. The guy should be wearing a 50 number.
That could be it too, but really what I was meaning by that is his point in his career already as a rookie. Like you would expect a rookie to have just most of his physical ability on the line, but like he's so far advanced now in his mind and his intelligence of the game. Like, I mean, I feel like I was smart as a rookie, but I feel like he's even smarter. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe just the way he prepares or the questions he asks. But I feel like some of the questions he asks, I'm like, dude, I didn't ask this stuff to Sean when I was a rookie. So I feel like he's so far ahead of the game already in his mind that, I mean, the sky's the limit for him, like I said.
He and Jabril Cox are different kinds of players. They're not cookie cutter of each other. And unless people are LSU fans, they really haven't seen either one of them play very much. Still not a lot with Jabril. Tell them a little bit about what you see. If you're a linebacker scout, what do you see in both of those guys?
Jabril he has all the ability in the world. But like you said, they're totally two different players, and I think it complements each other really well if they got the chance to play on the field together. But Jabril, he's more of a like confirm his read, finesse linebacker, I guess you could say. He's not gonna. He'll come he'll come put his hands on you for sure. Every one of the guys will. But as far as his play style, he's more, I would say, a finesse, a read and react guy. Damone is, he has everything to be the downhill thumper dude that you want him to be as a linebacker, but he's extremely fast. So, like, you got two guys with speed, one that can read and react, and another one that's just, like, super aggressive and can make plays all over the field. They both can. So, Jabril can cover. He's great in coverage. He uses his hands very, very well in the run game, and Damone's the same way. They have all the potential to be extremely good linebackers in the age that they are right now and where they are in their career. I think they're just going to keep climbing. You
talked earlier as well, just again, about that development. Have you always kind of had that knack or that itch to want to be a leader? Because, you can see it. To Brad's point, you can see how you've grown in that avenue through this 5 years. But even, like Mike McCarthy was saying the other day, like how much he misses you just as a play caller on the defense. So is that an avenue that you enjoy doing, or it's just something you naturally felt good at and wanted to be a leader?
I enjoy it. I enjoy being there for the young guys to talk to, and because I know how I felt as a rookie too, and in my second year playing with Sean, and just having a guy that you can go to directly in your room to be able to talk to and help guide you, whether you're playing you're out there on the field with them or not, or on the sideline, whatever it may be. But I feel like naturally, I think it comes to, I'm not really like a super, super vocal guy when it comes to, if I have something to say, I'm going to say it, but I don't overtalk. That's the thing. That's something that drives me insane about some guys is they just talk to talk. I'm not saying that we have those guys on our field. I'm just saying
generalizing.
In general, like
if you play long enough, you'll run into
you're
them.
going to run into guys like that, whether it be high school, college, or in the pros. So I like just being a great example and showing guys by being that example and showing them the actual thing and how it should be on the field or in practice, going through drills, individual drills, or whatever it may be, just setting that example for them and showing them, like, hey, this is how things need to be done. And if they don't understand it, they explain it to them.
So listening to you describe Damone and Jabril, I was kind of having a little 5-year flashback of rookie Leighton Vander Esch, for those of us who had not gotten to see you play. And what I remember, this is leading up to having you, this is different than talking about yourself. I'm going to ask you to give a scouting report objectively of yourself and your evolution as a linebacker. What I remember is, holy crap, this guy can go sideline to sideline, and then he will explode you. He's so violent when he gets there, but he can get everywhere. And Urlacher came to mind, and so I wonder if you agree with that scouting report of rookie Leighton, and how you would modify it, if at all, to 5 years down the road, Leighton.
Yeah, I think, there's so many plays. There's, like, good plays and bad plays that just get ingrained in your mind throughout your career. And, like, there's plays from my rookie year that still just absolutely make me want to freaking run into a wall because they just irritate me. I'm like, I made this mistake, and that just wasn't who I was just because I had bad eyes in one play. And stuff like that still bugs me. And I'm like, I think about that in the forefront of my mind all the time, even, like, throughout these last 4 years since then. And I think knowing, like, hey, there's certain things that I necessarily was missing as a rookie, thinking about them not constantly to where they just, like, drive you insane or affect your play, but knowing, like, you can anticipate or be ready for something like that now. And I think you're exactly right. My rookie year, I didn't necessarily realize, like, what was going on all the time, but just playing fast and going and getting the ball, you can't teach that. And so as time goes on, you start to add in and add to your vision, your peripheral vision, and you to learn to keep growing in those areas and picking up swaps, picking up behind the line movements, whatever it may be. It's all those post snap reads that you can get now, 5 years down the road. I think that makes all the difference. And so you take your ability and then you take your experience and you mesh those two together, and it can make for a very dangerous football player.
Are you maybe even able? This is so counterintuitive. The defenses are different, so there's that. But you play with so much with the discipline of a veteran that you couldn't have as a rookie, and yet it doesn't look to me like you have sacrificed any aggressiveness to discipline. It hasn't taken away from any of that. Is that something you have to work through to get to that point?
So I guess you could say that too. Really, that comes with film study too. You add that in there, and knowing like, okay, all your post snap reads, and just knowing like the looks you're gonna get based off of the pre snap, and you match your pre snap, what you think it's gonna be, what possible like plays you could get out of that, and then you put your post snap read with that, it can confirm things. And so like the second, like your mind will be going 100 miles an hour thinking like, okay, I could get this run, I could get this pass out of this set, and then they snap the ball, and your post snap you read can confirm that, or like, no, it's not this. But if it confirms that, then you pull your trigger and you go and you read it exactly how you should read it. That's when your aggressiveness can still take part because of your preparation, your study, and knowing what you're seeing.
Hope you all understand we're getting a linebacker clinic tonight from Leighton, Vander, Esch. This is the Cowboys Hour. We are at City Works at the Star District in Frisco. Next week's show will be on Tuesday night because the Cowboys have a little appointment in Tampa on Monday, and we're going to talk some more about that with Leighton Vander Esch when we come back.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back to City Works. This is the Cowboys Hour with Leighton, Vander, Esch. Before we get talking with him, give him some claps. We got a howl over there.
Well, that's the wolf howl.
You love to see it. But before, let's talk a little Luke Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I'm glad that happened. I actually wanted to ask you about that before we get into the Tampa Bay talk, because I know that's a really interesting and the topic of the week. But the howl, the wolf theme, walk me through just that celebration or that nickname or whatever. Where does that come from? Because I like
Haley
I
wasn't
like
here
wolves
5
myself.
years
I
ago,
wasn't.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and I know a lot of fans sometimes, aren't in tune with what happened. So just kind of
Because
walk
that
me
Leighton,
through.
that was 5 years ago. That was
I don't
like
think-
forever.
I don't even
right?
know where he was 5 years ago. I think maybe
Man.
Montana somewhere.
So this was a whole draft rookie process for me too. The becoming of the wolf hunter and the wolf call. So when we were at the combine and I had my official visit or meeting with the Cowboys, I've said it before. I mean, literally, like, we talked about football for the first 2 minutes, and then somehow it got into hunting.
Now, do you remember
because of
who
my
it was?
background.
Who was doing that interview? For
the
them?
whole it was in the room with
Like the press
whole
conference?
organization. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Ownership, scouts,
all the
okay.
coaches,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
And so we got to talking about football for like 2 minutes, and then somehow it got flipped over to my background, like hunting, passions I love to do or something like that quick. And then it was just like that's what the meeting was about the whole time. We just talked about life. It was kind of crazy, but not expecting where I thought it was going to go at all. And I showed him a picture on my phone because back home, my dad and I, we hunt wolves. They re-enlisted wolves. They took them off the endangered species list because they protected them for 20 years and just let them run wild. So, like, we had nobody, like, they didn't manage them at all. And so, for us, that was, like, predator control at that point. And so, I showed them a picture of one of the wolves we got, and they absolutely loved it. And so, Richard, at the time, our, like, co-D coordinator, coverage coach, he just started referring to me as the wolf hunter. And so, like, that's where the nickname came from, because more people just started hearing about it, and that's what they just called me around the facility. And then during the game,
No one had ever called you that before.
no one had ever called me that before.
Yeah.
And so, like, he started that, and then it just took off. And then, like, during one of the games, I don't know why.
It just
but
overcame
you.
I can't
overcame you.
remember.
Overcame
I
you.
can't remember if they did a howl, like, call over the speakers after a big play, and I just didn't do anything. And then the next time I heard that, and I can't remember if it was one or the other. If I did it first, it just was a blur. That was how my whole rookie season was. But ever since then, I mean, it just stuck. The fans loved it. Everybody loved it, and the nickname was there, and it made sense. It wasn't fake. A lot of people didn't realize that. So, yeah.
Do you?
That's that.
Do you understand why, in retrospect, that meeting with all of the Cowboys executives had so little to do with football and so much to do with what drives you and what you're passionate about?
I wonder that to this day. It still goes through my mind, like, why the meeting went that way. But I think really it just speaks to – I've tried to find a reason for it, but the only thing I can think of is the coaches care about what you are as a person more so in those atmospheres rather than, like, picking your brains about football. They're going to pick your brains about football, but there's like set times for that at the combine. And I think they were just like, dude, like, we just want to know about you, like, as a person, just to figure out who you are.
Because they haven't told me this. I just kind of think I know guys over a period of time. Maybe tell me if this fits. They've seen you play. They know who the football player is.
Yep.
And as you said, there's going to be other times to pick your football brain and have. They're thinking about investing a first-round draft choice. They want to know who you are.
Yep, exactly. I mean, they want to know all the baggage that's coming with you and what they're going to have to deal with in the long run to see if you're really worth it or not. And so figuring out who you are as a person is extremely important, and that's why I think it went that route, because at that point they knew, like, okay, he can play football. He's an intelligent dude. I mean, he's the stuff that needs to be on film is there. So it was, like I said, just trying to pick me about the type of person I was.
Makes
He was a
great
wolf
sense to
hunter.
me. Makes great sense to me. All right, Haley talked about Tampa. Let's talk about that. I've been reading about this old man they got playing quarterback. I've been reading a little bit about him.
Just an old man.
I can call him an old man. I can get away with it. What? He can't move. Come on. You know where he's going to be. What makes him so great?
I mean, the dude's 45 and he's playing the best football of his whole career, so you can't, like, take that away from him. There's going to be certain things about players that they aren't so good at or that they're known for, and other things that you can't knock on him for it. The dude's an extremely good football player. He's been that way for his whole career. You got to give it to him, and just really what he brings to the game of football and what he can teach you just by watching him. And I don't know about anybody else, but I feel so pumped that we get another crack at him first round of these playoffs this year. So I think I know a lot of the guys are feeling the exact same way. And I mean, like I said, we've fallen short the last 2 times, and I don't think that's going to happen again.
So that would be the first game of this year, and then the first game of last year, right?
At Tampa.
And so, what year were you drafted? 18.
Yeah.
And
18 was my first. Yep.
Was it 19 that you played up there in a horrible weather?
Yeah, it was like raining.
Were
ice.
you playing, or were you out?
No, I
at the
was.
time?
That was right. That was the week. We found out about having a rest for my neck.
Okay, so
that's what it was.
So you've actually, but you were part of the team. You saw the preparation of it. So, I mean, look, hey, I'm not making this up. The Cowboys are 0 for Brady. They've never beaten them, and I've seen most of those
Brady,
games.
I love that.
And he just yanks your heart out at the end. So. So how do you defend him? How do you attack him? What gets you? I understand what would get you excited about taking him down, but how do you do it?
I think doing your job every single play and doing it better than the guy across from you, because at the end of the day, 11 of their guys got to do their job better than 11 of our guys. And I don't think that can happen if we do our job every single play. So, I mean, Brady's going to beat you here and there, but you just can't break. You got to give it He'll take the little easy throws and not get too greedy on certain plays. So he'll take the easy throws. You just got to manage it, and you got to tackle it off and not let him get any yards after catch. So I think that's extremely important. But like I said, doing your job every single play, all 11 guys. And, hey, if one guy does their job better than another guy across the ball, which I think a lot of our guys can do our job better, the rest will take care of itself.
How different is this team now than they were in week 1? Because when we started talking about the matchups of this, it kind of felt like poetic justice that the postseason rather would start with this rematch. But how much has this team changed since that first game?
I mean, we've got a whole another season under our belts together on top of last year. So I think just really how we grew through last season till that first round of the playoffs and leaving that sour taste in our mouth, and then having a whole another year again to develop with this same group that we got, the same crew. Really, we've been lucky to keep us all together on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously to have the coaching staff and DQ still leading us on the way. And so that, I think, is the X factor in how much we've grown this season. We've had our ups and downs, and that's football. But I think it's really if you look at our past and really when we get punched in the mouth, I mean, we always respond. Always do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I know these guys are going to go do that, and I'm going to do the same thing.
Is that just because like it doesn't feel good, or like it's just like a motivational factor?
Both. I think every guy knows the feeling and the sour taste that we had in our mouth from last year's playoff game, that first round of the playoffs, and I don't want to freaking get all into that, but
Sure.
But that's
sounds like you do a little bit, but that's all right.
I mean, it's all in the forefront of our minds,
Yeah.
and we don't want to go through that again. So I think that in itself spoke a lot to us. And now that we have another crack at Brady, knowing how the last 2 times went against him, I mean, it's a great opportunity to go out there and take care of business.
Last question about Brady, then we'll take a break and get some questions for Leighton from the folks here at CityWorks. Whether it's him or Aaron Rodgers or whatever, when you play a truly great quarterback, do you notice when you make a play, pro to pro, can you tell, is there anything in their demeanor, the way they look, that says, oh, okay, I see you. You're good too. I see that.
Yeah. Specifically, too, I mean, from the first time last year when we played Tampa, that was the first time I personally got to play against Brady. And I played 14 reps in that game, which wasn't very much. And then this year was really like my first true shot to actually play against him a good amount. And there was certain plays, and I watched the game this morning too. I went to the facility, got in the hot tub, and that was the first thing I put on my iPad was the Tampa Bay game from first thing in this season, and just watching. And there's certain plays in there where I know, dude, you saw exactly what I was doing, and you went away, or had to read a different side of the field. And so, knowing that and seeing that and knowing that you can have an effect on him and playing the game within a game, because, I mean, we're the quarterbacks of the defense, and a lot of his reads are going to come based off of the second level at the linebacker level and what we're doing and how we're controlling the field. So the more you can keep him on his toes, even if it's just a few times in big crunch time moments, that adds up and has an effect.
You never drop the iPad in the hot tub, do you?
Nope.
Okay. Be careful about that. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that'll mess everything up. Leighton Vander Esch is our guest on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour tonight. We're at CityWorks at the Star District in Frisco. We'll be right back with your questions.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We are at CityWorks with Leighton, Vander, Esch, everybody. Cowboys Hour is brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think we got some questions coming up.
I bet we do. Well, that's what we're here for, but I think some of the Cowboy fans here at CityWorks have some. Joe Trahan has the microphone.
Fitting
and since
that we start with Rambo.
Since Rambo brought the gigantic Leighton head, he should get the first question. Rambo, where did you get that? and that's the first question. And the next question is, why did you get that?
Actually, I got it at a watch party here a couple of years ago, right here in front of the football field.
Okay.
And I answered a couple of questions with Barry Church, and they're like, "Hey, thank you very much." And here you go. I was like, "Hey, that's great."
Okay.
Because I had wanted something
Barry Church
very
gave
similar.
you that?
No, not. It was Danny Surek, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
okay.
But yeah, that was a couple of years ago. But
So it wasn't that you went out searching for the biggest Leighton Vander Esch head you could find necessarily. They said, "Here you are."
actually, that definitely made my season. That made my day. That
Okay,
day.
there we go.
Excited. So perfect. Well, good evening, Leighton.
Thank you.
So as a fan, I'm hoping you guys break through that offensive line and get towards Brady, and just take care of business. But is there on the flip side of that? I was like, you know what? If they get to Brady, I'm afraid of the roughing the passer calls just because it's Brady. Do you guys have kind of the same mindset? Is your approach different since it is Tom Brady?
No, I mean, our attack is going to be the exact same to go get these quarterbacks every single week, and especially with him. And it just so happens to start with Tom. And so the fact that, I mean, they have a great offensive line, but do I have every bit of confidence in our D-line to go and get after them? Absolutely, 100%. I know they're going to do that. And we're going to put in great pressure plan to go and attack their protection. So, but has there been a technique change in sacking the quarterback this year? Absolutely. There's things you got to be careful of, and really it's just being able to brace yourself and make sure your strike zone isn't near the helmet. But, I mean, the land on the quarterback, so much of it is a speculation call, and some of these refs are good at it, and some of them are just absolutely horrendous at it. So that's just what you have to deal with, and that's what we have to deal. That's what we have to deal with as a defense now, and going after these quarterbacks. And so knowing that we have to brace ourselves and not land full weight on them, that can be hard at times, but it's something we got to do.
How you doing, Leighton?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Big fan. Just want to let you know you were missed the past couple games, and hope you happy to see you come back real soon. But anyway, my question to you is, who are you going for tonight with Georgia and TCU? Just out of curiosity.
TCU, absolutely.
He's in Texas. What do you want? What do you think he's going to say, Georgia?
The trick question.
Has nothing to do with TCU, Georgia. It was a trick question. How many blitzes are in the book for you?
For me?
Yeah, that's
For you.
not related at all.
I think no,
Like-
but we're all over the place.
Probably one.
And has he called it once this year?
I mean, they blitz me every now and then, but I've also been covering my butt off, so
Yeah, I know.
I'm just trying to star in my role, and that's my role.
No,
so.
I get it. Look, I like watching this stuff, and I like watching you blitz. I think you're a heck of a weapon. I understand why he doesn't want you not in coverage when you're out there sometimes, why he let the other guys do stuff, but it doesn't come very often, right?
It doesn't come very often, and so that's like what I'm saying is when I get the chance to, I think that's when it turns into good things because I look at it as a great opportunity to go get after the quarterback, and I don't get to do it very often, so I'm going to do it guns blazing.
Okay, I'm going to try to get word to Dan.
Hello, Leighton. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
The question that comes to mind is that commonly, a lot of times you'll see that team players will exchange jerseys after a game. In your choice, players, opponents from opposing teams, players of past and present, who would you like to trade your jersey
See
with?
what a good question that
great
is.
That's a great question. So I have two trades that I've done. They were both actually my rookie year. I don't know if I could say one for the future right now, but I can tell you my two favorites that I've traded with, guys that I've looked up to my whole entire career ever since I was in high school and through college, going into the pros. Number one was Adrian Peterson. He was like my favorite football player growing up. I used to watch YouTube videos of him when I was little, just running dudes over. That was what I loved to watch. So I would look up YouTube videos of him just trucking dudes over and over and over again and watch that. And so getting the opportunity to play against him my rookie year, I can't remember. I think he played his second or my second year too. But getting to play against him those 2 years, it was like a surreal moment for me because I looked up to him so much. And then sitting in the huddles across from each other when they're calling their offensive plays and we're calling the defensive plays, and like making eye contact with a guy like that and him like kind of smile at you or smirking at you, it was just like crazy in the moment because I'm like, how is this real right now?
I'm sorry, when you first saw that smirk, did you take it as I see you, I respect you, or I'm coming to give you a little bit?
I met him before he got picked up by Washington my rookie year. We actually had dinner at the Star at D. Lincoln together, because my agent was trying to get him signed too. So that was the first time I met him, and so getting like in the game and playing against him, I think he was like probably a little bit of both.
Okay, all right.
But my second one was Bobby Wagner. And
that's a good one. That's a good one.
I always looked up to him as obviously because he played the same position that I'm playing. So, and he's been doing it at a high level his whole career. And so getting to play in the Pro Bowl with him my rookie year, I traded jerseys with him. I traded helmets with him too. And so getting to be along his side for a week at the Pro Bowl, practicing and getting to play that game with him, it taught me a lot too. And so just having guys that I've looked up to like that for my career and being able to kind of get under their wing and pick their brains about certain things and about the game of football. And I just feel so fortunate and blessed to be in this position to play with guys like that.
And is there just one that you'd like to get down the road somewhere?
One that I would like to get? Probably Brady.
I was going to say, would it be Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
everyone would be okay with
go
a
ahead
Tom
and
Brady
sack
jersey.
him Monday night, and then that'll be it. You'll have beaten him for the first time.
Blitz him.
Hey, thanks to everybody for coming out, and let me just tell you that it's just a joy to watch you play and really master your craft. And I specifically stayed away from contracts because I don't like to get into other people's business. But if you want to be here, I hope you're here for a while. Thank you. Leighton, Vander, Esch, everybody. Haley and I will be back next Tuesday on the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!